Martha Ankuma, one of Ghana's talented actress, was invited to an event and she spoke about the issue of colorism in the Ghanaian film industry. Is that the case? Well, we'll delve into it some more. Also, Leila Jewel Djansi, one of Ghana's prominent and prolific film directors, has posed the question that is the Ghana film industry not a joke? Let's suppose that he posted on his Facebook account about a month ago, and I thought that what she espoused in the post is quite interesting, and so we'll be talking about it as well. And today is day three of CinemaCon, day three of CinemaCon. However, we'll be bringing you a summary and some highlights of both day one, which I shared mostly some yesterday, and also I'll be doing same today. But the major highlights of today will be on day two, and we'll get to know some of the films that will be releasing on the international market and some other information if we so find them. So this is the film mandate. I am Papa O2. Stay tuned. So welcome back once again to the Film Mandate. Today's episode is episode 9. I want to also thank you for joining me for this very episode. We have three stories today from our usual two stories that we've been doing for some time now. Just in my bit of preparing to do this production, I discovered the Martha and Kuma story, and I felt it was quite interesting that we needed to talk about. This was an event that happened about, I think, a day ago, that is yesterday, at an event she attended at the church, one of the ICGC churches in Ghana. So it's quite an interesting event, and I thought I would discuss it, bring it up so that we can discuss it. So that's the poster you see on the screen, and that is the wonderful Martha Ankuma, who was invited as a guest at the ICGC New Wine Temple, if I'm not mistaken, at East Legon, where she shared her views and her experience in the film industry. So I thought it wise to bring it up so that we can talk about it, because the issue of colorism is not just in the Ghanaian film industry, in even in Hollywood and other great film industries around the world have the issues of colorism. So for her to bring it up, I think it's something worth talking about. So the graphic showbiz chanced upon this item and they spoke about it. So I thought I should bring it up for us to talk more about it. So I'd like to read the article briefly and then we can have a little discussion on it. So, Martha Ankuma on colorism in Ghana's film industry, the pressure to bleach was too much. There's an article published by Kweku Zurek on Showbiz News of the Graphic Online. I read, Ghanaian actress Martha Ankuma has opened up about colorism in the local movie industry, revealing that dark-skinned actors often face discrimination and pressure to bleach their skin in order to secure roles. Speaking at the PCH Hangout 2025 edition, sorry, at ICGC New Wine Temple, East Legon, Ankuma recounted the moments when a producer criticized her skin tone, telling her, Martha, you are too black. The lights we use in acting, when we put the light on you, you won't shine. According to the actress, such industry biases led many of her colleagues to lighten their skin to fit the perceived standard of beauty. Because of that pressure, most of my colleagues started bleaching, and that's how come some of them are fair. If you've been watching Ghanaian movies for a while, you will know that some of them were not fair before, but now they are because they had to maintain it. Despite the pressure, Ankoma resisted the trend attributing her decision to wisdom, faith, and her upbringing. I thank God for wisdom because the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. I thank God for my parents. My dad was an Adventist. May he rest in peace. And my mom is a strict Pentecostal. It takes the grace of God. Reflecting on her journey in the industry, the actress acknowledged the challenges she faced before the rise of social media. It hasn't been easy, it has just been the grace of God. When we started, there was nothing like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or Twitter. It was just you being put on a poster she shared. She also addressed rumors about actors engaging in compromising situations to advance their careers, stressing that such process exists in every profession. I'm sure whatever wherever you are working to, people do all sorts of things just to be there. So it's everywhere, trust me. But it takes the grace of God for you to say no to a lot of things. Amen to that. So yeah, this is an article covered on the wonderful, talented actress Martha Ankuma, and she was speaking on the issue of colorism in the Ghanaian film industry. And yes, it is actually even bigger than the Ghanaian film industry. From what she said in the article, it meant that the director or whoever was talking or interacting with her was referring to a technical difficulty, but the challenge, I believe, it shouldn't have been a technical difficulty, regardless of it. Your job as a lightman or whoever is in charge of lighting or to ensure that the skin tone pops up should find a solution to it. So it's unfortunate that she had to be criticized for who she is. It's sad. It's sad. But the issue of colorism actually is bigger than what happens in the industry. Granted, I think the industry is just a microcosm of what is within the culture in itself. Until recently, dating way back, a lot of people take pride in being fair, which, yes, if it is that is who you are, if that's what your complexion is, excellent. There's nothing wrong with it because we are all created in different shades of colors and it's perfect, as we are, as how God has created us all to be. But then people took much pride in preferential treatments depending on the circles you may find yourself in were given to people who were fair than would have been given to people who are dark skinned. And this is what Martha and Kuma faced in the industry with regards to that. And it's a challenge because it then pushed, just as she said, some actors to lighten their skin just to perhaps secure roles and all others. So colorism has really been an issue in the industry. I think now it's not much of an issue anymore. I'm sure perhaps there may be isolated incidences where dark-skinned actors may face some of these issues. But I want to stress that a story or an actor being cast should not really be much dependent on the color of their skin, but what they can deliver in terms of their skill set, their talents. If the story merits it or demands it's fair. I mean, it should be done, or people should be cast in that regard. But more often than not, the issue should really be more on how skillful or talented the individual may be. If it's the issue of lighting, hey, that is why you are a professional and have been called on set to provide a solution for the entire production. So it's unfortunate that she faced that, but I'm glad that she took a stand and didn't allow the pressure from producers or whichever quarters it may be from to make her lighten her skin tone. So it's so wonderful that she's stood the test of time and has not lightened the skin in any capacity. If you check her filmography, she's done a lot of movies. She's done a lot of movies from Somewhere in Africa in 2011 to Million Dollar Baby to 2016 to a lot more productions, My Taxi Driver, etc., collaborating not just with the Ghanaian filmmakers, but also the Nigerian filmmakers and many more. So she's really been in the industry for long and has faced a lot of challenge, uh, just as she said. And the issue of colorism, hopefully it's fading out gradually, where people are now proudly accepting the color with which God created them with. So it is a worrying trend back then. I just hope that it doesn't really exist now. There may be isolated incidences, that's as I said, but hopefully I'm sure it shouldn't be a problem now. But I'm glad that she took a stand, and she's not just a filmmaker or an actress, but she is also an entrepreneur who is into beauty and other businesses as well. So Martha Ankuma is such an exceptional, talented actress in Ghana, and also very God fearing, as you can see, an ICGC member, and the fact that she held on to her faith and not allow her faith to be swayed either way is amazing. And I should say I'm proud of her for taking such a stand and being a role model, perhaps for others who want to go into the industry but may not know how to navigate their way into the industry. So this is my first story for this very episode. I would like you to comment if you have any thoughts or questions concerning this particular story. I'd like you to leave your comments in the comment section down below so that we can address and have a dialogue. It shouldn't be just a one-way presentation of me bringing to you information on the film industry. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this episode of the issue which Martha Ankuma brought up. So yes, so now moving on to our second story, there is one great Ghanaian director that she's done a lot of wonderful productions for more than, if I'm not mistaken, close to 2 decades. She's one of the leading female directors, just a handful of directors that has been doing great business in the area of film directing. And she shared a posting on her Facebook page. And this director is none other than Leila Jewel Djansi, and I like to read the post she shared. But for those who do not know, who may not know who she is, perhaps you might have watched her films. So she's done films from Sinking Sands 2010 to Ties That Bind, and then you have 40 and Sing, which was a TV series of which she directed, I think, 4 episodes, if I'm not mistaken, and also All the Men in My Life. I think she's currently working on a new movie, and she's had experience directing both in Ghana and Hollywood and different parts of the world. So yes, she's had vast experiences, and her question, it's something worth taking a critical look at, because the conversation or the debate on whether we have a film industry has been going on for such a long time. But in this regard, she is talking about how whether even the film industry is is a joke or not. So I like to read her post quickly, and then we can talk about it. So this is her page on Facebook. That's Leila Jewel Djansi's post, which was posted on March 2nd. And it reads, but hold on. Is the Ghana film industry not a joke? Sometimes when you are given criticism, don't just get angry and fail to actually see the import or ask the reason behind the accusation. Separate your emotions and be objective. So I don't know the reason why she posted this, but I saw a number of things in there which I thought it was quite interesting. She encountered this on one of her productions, and she shared, and I mean not just one but several of her production, and she shared some of these things out there. I know perhaps some people in the industry may not agree with her, but some of the issues she raised are valid. And yes, if truly it happened, then it's something that really we need to address and see to it. So I'll continue the reading. I've tasted and tested the Ghanaian film industry since the year 2000. So yes, she's been in the industry for over 2 decades. Bled red blood for it and from it, and it is a methless joke. Try an AD telling you he's going to sleep for a few minutes in the middle of a shoot. That is really bad. Okay. Try a crew demanding you stop filming, bring a TV so they can watch football and then return to set after the match. Look for what Kari Fukunaga said about working in Ghana. Try wardrobe telling an actor they don't have an outfit for them because their role is not big enough. Should I talk about the production designer who passed the real knife to an actor for a stabbing scene? My God, if it wasn't for divine intervention, Vanessa Williams would have stabbed John Dumelo with a real knife that day. How is this not a joke? Yeah, so Vanessa Williams, one of the big name actress in Hollywood. Yeah, and that would have been devastating should this have happened. And truly, this is really bad. This is really bad. Compare that to my production in the Dominican Republic, where the props guy showed me 8 different watches, properly arranged for me to choose just one. For the scene, for the scene, 8 options. I cried tears of joy, not because of the watches, but because someone actually cared about the details. Look good, look, good and bad can coexist in anything. But at what point do we stop excusing the bad and start fixing it? Maybe the people who are angry have no other industry to compare it to. Maybe you are angry because you do not know it can be better. Sometimes, too, an old woman is always uncomfortable when dry bones are mentioned in proverb. Take 2 of your most recent critically acclaimed films from the previous 3 years and compare them to 2 of the most recent critically acclaimed films from Nigeria, Zambia, Kenya, and South Africa. I feel a migraine coming on. Look at them side by side and ask yourself if we are actually gaining any momentum. In 2018, we got Azali for the Oscars, and since then, every single submission has been a joke, a literal joke. Some of the films would convince you to burn your Ghana card. Wow, that's pretty sad. This ain't because we don't have the talent, not because we don't have the stories, but because we refuse to do the work. A few years ago, a CAA agent told me we couldn't represent me because my films had no explosions. Ah, explosions? Okay, initially I was livid. I started making excuses. Did you give me explosion budget? But I sat with the criticism. I sat with it, and guess what? My next film, I made sure I not only had explosions, I freaking burned down a house and a human being. And I went all out. From the sets to the stars, I even shot an amorphic lenses. Wow, that's good. Because what he actually said to me was, go take risk with your storytelling. I grew up. If your default is to always accuse people who correct you of hating or envy, you won't be introspective and you will not grow. We will get there. When, how, we are trying. Are you though? You are chasing fluff. Right here on Facebook years ago, I spoke about the damage Opera Square was creating and how the industry needed to leave that behind. Excuses, insults, stories, what happened? As it stands now, if you make a film in Ghana, there is nowhere to even distribute it. And you are stuck in the vicious micro budget cycle. You are waiting for Netflix. You will wait forever unless you change. Stop enduring mediocrity, please. Instead of these knee jerk reactions, instead of acting like people just want to hate, forget the who and the how and actually listen. Sit with the criticism, use it to rise. I thought you said you are not taking up, you're not talking about Ghana anymore. Sorry. New Year resolution starting June. So yeah, this is an article by Leila Jewel, and as you can see in the images below, I don't know whether I can get it. Yeah, so as you can see, this is I think on the set in Dominican Republic. Sorry, because I didn't log in. Yeah, this is the challenge I'm facing. But yeah, so Leila, I believe there's credibility to what she's saying. It's actually happened. I'm sure it happened. And The description she's given is something appalling, particularly when you consider the fact that every minute spent on set is cost being incurred. So for a crew member to ask for television to be brought on set to watch a match, which most often we lose sometimes, that is speaking of Ghana as a country, or more often, we lose more often than usual, is quite disheartening because the business of filmmaking takes months, sometimes years to prepare. And to prepare and meet such an individual on set is quite disturbing. I don't know what the producer did at the time to help her out, but whatever that may be, it's not supposed to have been tolerated, and I'm saddened, and I can understand her disappointment at the industry because looking at what she does, Leila Jewel is not just a Ghanaian film director who directs only in Ghana, but she's had experiences in Hollywood, USA, and other places in the world. So for her to even have compared what we do here in Ghana to the Dominican Republic, you could tell that she's had these varied experiences, and comparing those experiences are likely to happen. And it's really sad that these are the stories, or these are the challenges she encountered, because I can tell you she's one of the individuals who have shot movies on what we'll call big budgets in Ghana, but yes, out there it may still be a relatively a micro budget, but in Ghana it's a huge budget. And for her to encounter this, yes, I'm sure she was really sad and mad about it. And yes, the challenge of sometimes, I must admit, I've had opportunity to work on a number of sets, but sometimes the challenge of people accepting the fact that, listen, we are not performing at par if we are looking at transforming our industry. It's a reality. It happens on set sometimes, and people don't take their work serious, and it's sad sometimes because there's a job that you are being paid for to work. It is not free. You are not offering your services for free, regardless of whatever charges you may have, I mean, or whatever payment you might have asked for. You are still being paid for. You agreed to that, and you are being paid for. So to go on set and perform mediocrity, or even mediocre, or even give excuses for your performance is really sad. Listen, I've always said that we now live in a global village, and regardless of what we may think, whatever film we do here would compete all around the world. Let's even take Ghana as a country. Most often than not, even in Silverbed, you have the Hollywood films showing in the cinemas side by side the local films. And more often than not, Silverbed is a business, and they have to run their business. So they will definitely go in for movies that will sell tickets. And I'm sure when you present a movie to them, no matter how much they may want to support local films, if it's not at par with the films from the other countries, they are not going to show it. And even if they show it, the numbers, the attendance would prove whether the movie is worth it at all or not. Yes, there are situations where a movie will be that good and still will not have anybody go and watch. But the quality of a movie would all start from the production stages. Yes, the budget is also an aspect of it. I like the fact that when she was advised, I wouldn't say criticized, but advised by the CAA agent who she had wanted that individual to represent her, she stressed on the fact of explosions. And I believe it's not just the literal explosion. Yes, that included, but I think it's more about the production value. More about the production value. A lot of the movies we do in this part of our world are too safe. Yes, it doesn't mean the outside world don't do that, don't do same. But most of the movies we do are too safe. They are not engaging in terms of story. They are not compelling in terms of the plot twist and all that. and it's a challenge. So we are not even regarded. And the challenge with this is that when an individual among the bunch produces a very good story, it doesn't stand out well enough because in the minds of those who matter in the industry globally, they don't even think something good can ever come out from this side of our world. So it is really a problem. And yes, I think that regardless of whether um, those who may know him, know her personally, I think the criticism, just as you said in the article, should be taken objectively. Let's forget about our personal differences and take criticisms objectively and dissect it and ask ourselves whether we are performing at par with those in the West. The question I always ask myself, that if I watch my own movie, or if a filmmaker watches their own movie and doesn't feel entertained enough, then it is a problem. And the excuse should not be in the area of low budget. Yes, budget helps and it counts, and budget is needed to make a production. But once you get the budget to do a movie, every ounce of thinking and energy and resource and manpower should be put into it to make sure that it is excellent, it is flawless. Because we are competing with the tentpole movies, the superhero movies from Marvel and DC. We are competing from films from all over the world. Even we are even competing with skits online, and it's heartbreaking that someone will spend lots of money in a production and yet people will not go and ski, but people would would love to watch skits. I don't think it's a matter of it being free and the movies in the cinemas you pay for. Yes, costs may have the dynamics of influencing what people may watch, but I can guarantee if a movie is that good, regardless, people will pay and go and watch it. People will pay and watch it. You have films like the Passion of the Christ when it came to Ghana. At the time, I'm not sure Silverbird was not in existence at the time. At the time, it was being aired in the National Theatre, which is in Accra, and people lined up for days during the Easter festive season to watch it. People paid to watch it several times over. So the money, yes, maybe we didn't have alternative entertainment or platforms like we have today in terms of social media where we can watch skits. But that has been the challenge. If the quality production is not done, people will not be moved to watch it. So I agree with the fact that we need to take a critical look at the industry, not just in the terms of where structures or infrastructures are being put in place. Yes, those all are good, but individually, as crew members and as guilds who represent these crew members or associations who represent these crew members, there need to be perhaps workshops to make us understand how dire of a situation we find ourselves in as as an industry. We need to up our game. We've been in existence for so long in terms of the industry. When you talk about the Ghana film colony back then, when you compare a number of the movies that have been made now to the movies made then, you realize that it's as if we have declined in terms of quality, in terms of the artistry, in terms of technicality. We need to go back to the basics of taking the profession very serious. It is not a hobby. It is not yes, maybe a side job or a hobby for others, but for the producers and the writers and the filmmakers who make those movies, and for a number of them, this is their lifeline, their bloodline, their blood. They sweat for it. So yes, I think we need to take a critical look at how we perform on set. And I think at a point in time, we need to come to a point where perhaps we engage the top crew men and women in this field, not necessarily because they are excellent, but because perhaps they provide the very best of even attitude on set and services as well. So yeah, this is Leila's gripe she has with the industry, and it has really been a problem. And unfortunate, I'm sure some directors may still be encountering such situations when they are shooting their projects. And it's really unfortunate. And we should keep in mind that because it's a global village, whatever we are doing now would definitely, I mean, our attitude would circulate to all over the world. The issue of the Netflix in Nigeria, you know, it became a it became news for those, especially in the industry, and those issues were not something good to talk about. As Africans, we want to also rub shoulders with those in the West, but unfortunately, such habits and attitudes will not take us there. It doesn't mean we are second fiddle to anybody in the world, but we need to prove our worth. If we are in this industry and we want to prove a point, we have to prove it on the screen, on the silver screen. And that starts with our attitude behind the production whilst we are set working. So yes, I like the fact that Leila Jewel was vocal enough and voiced out these issues. So, if you have any questions or you have any suggestions or a different opinion from what I might have said or what Leda said, kindly leave them in the comments below, and in due time we would respond to it because I want it to be engaging and interactive. So, I'll move to my next story, and this has to do with CinemaCon, which is still ongoing at the moment in Las Vegas. So, CinemaCon 2025 is still ongoing. I'm seeing how I can escape this. Yeah, but yeah, so it's unfortunate there's challenges we are experiencing now. And then, yeah, so deadline. Just as I brought to you yesterday, CinemaCon Day One had a number of films being announced by Sony Pictures and some other companies. And briefly, I would like to go through a number of the productions that have been announced so far so we can take a look at them. Yeah, so on your screen, you have Gerard Butler and a number of films that are being shown here at the moment. Yeah. So CinemaCon is currently underway with presentations from Sony Pictures, Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, Paramount, Universal, Focus, Disney, Angel, and Neon, highlighting their upcoming film releases. So Angel Studios opened day 3, leading into the world premiere of How to Train Your Dragon. How to Train Your Dragon. And then you have Gerard Butler, Nicole Parker, and Dean DeBlois presented the Universal Pictures and DreamWorks animation live action film. On Tuesday, Warner Brothers showcased the Cat in the Hat trailer, followed by James Gunn and Peter Safran introducing Superman. Stars David Consworth, Rachel Brosnan, and Nicholas Hoult. And they are playing the characters Superman, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor, respectively, as has been displayed here. So later, we had Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, and Leonardo DiCaprio discuss their collaboration with Paul Thomas Anderson on One Battle After Another. And when Leonardo DiCaprio is part of a film, it's going to be good. You definitely know it's going to be good. And James Gunn has been very good in every movie he's ever directed or written. You know, he really understands his craft so well. We watched Guardians of the Galaxy. All the character dynamics, the relationship among characters are excellent. All the stories are entertaining, funny, but also able to balance it well with the elements of darkness and grittiness. If you haven't watched his movie Super Bad, yeah, Super Bad, it's another superhero movie of a different sort altogether. Yeah, so yeah, these films are quite classics. Well, hopefully they may be classics, but so far from the films I've seen from Warner Brothers, they look good. They look compelling enough. Yeah. You have Lionsgate also present. The Lionsgate's presentation today kicked off with an extended look at Ballerina from director Len Wiseman, starring Anna de Armas. And so, for those who know, the Ballerina is a spin-off of the film franchise John Wick. And even you have Keanu Reeves also making an appearance in The Ballerina as well. Yeah, so Francis Lawrence and Mark Hamill teased the adaptation of Stephen King's The Long Walk, while highlights included the announcement of Sunrise on the Reaping, the next Hunger Games. So yeah, these are quite big productions with some big names attached. Mark Hamill, the voice of Joker, in the animated series or animations of Warner Brothers DC, and also Star Wars. You can't take that away from him, Star Wars. Yeah, so these are quite some big films that have been announced by Lionsgate. And also, yeah, also revealed was Luca Guadagnino's reimagining of American Psycho. So for those who know American Psycho, the one that was produced some time back starred Christian Bale. So yeah, they want to reimagine it. Yeah, John Wick 5 is also in development. Jenna Ortega presenting the Hurry Up Tomorrow trailer, and Paul Feig's thriller The Housemaid, starring Amanda Seyfried, Sydney Sweeney, and Brandon Sklenar. Sorry, I butchered the name there. Yeah, so Sony Pictures also brought a packed lineup to CinemaCon 2025, starting with updates on 28 years later from directors Danny Boyle and the sequel's director, Nia Da Costa, gave an update about 28 years later, The Bone Temple. So the 28 years later, which I think will be released this year anytime soon, is the third installment in the 28 later franchise. Yeah, so they did, I think, 28 days later, and they did 28 weeks later, and this is 28 years later. So the sequel also being announced to the third franchise, so meaning that this will be the fourth installment in the franchise, which is 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting lineup there from Sony. You also have other highlights included Darren and Aronofsky's Hot Stealing trailer, and you have Kogonada's A Big Bold Beautiful Journey preview, exclusive Spider-Verse footage, details on Zach Cregger's Resident Evil, Tyree Dillehay's Goat. I hope I'm getting the names right because it looks like I'm just butchering them. And Daniel Cretton's new Spider-Man project. So yeah, for those who know the Spider-Verse is an amazing animation. Amazing. Some may even rate it as the best Spider-Man movie among all the live Spider-Man, even all the other Spider-Man movies that have been produced in terms of the live action by Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield and then Tom Holland. Some rated that high, and yeah, myself, it's really good. It's really good. I think the second Spider-Man 2 by featuring Tobey Maguire is one of my favorites. But I can tell you for a fact that the Spider Verse is really good. And from the discussions that have been going on in the CinemaCon at the CinemaCon event, the rumor is it's just really good, and they are trying to even break more barriers in terms of the animation styles they introduced in the past too. So yeah, I, I know it's going to be good, especially having Phil Lord and I forgot Miller producing it. It's really be good. It's really be good. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to Destin Daniel Cretton's new Spider-Man project because knowing what he's been able to do with Shang-Chi, one of the best films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this speaks that yeah, it's really be good. So yeah, and then Goat also has that is Tyree Dillhay's Goat also has for those who like basketball, Steph Curry is one of the producers on this project, which is just an animation about a goat who is in the. I mean, it's an animation, yeah. So I believe the goat, the name goats here may also represent the greatest of all time acronym. So it may have to do with the story as well. So yeah, and then yeah, here we have Gerard Butler and his co-star in the picture below. I mean, a picture on screen. Yeah, so let's move on to, yeah, so the rest, this is an article in the deadline, and mostly what you see on your screen are images of some of the filmmakers and actors on screen. Yeah. So this is, and Gerard Butler's own has to do with the live adaptation of the animation of How to Train Your Dragon. So yeah, it's, so I've seen the trailer. It is good. It looks really good. It's as if you can't tell the difference between the animation and that of the live action. It's really good. The images are really good. Yeah. And then you're here, you also have Universal Pictures, DreamWorks Animation presents an exclusive screening of How to Train Your Dragon. So yeah, as you can see in the images that these are people who, sorry, down below you have Gerard Butler, and I always keep forgetting her name. I think it's Nico Parker. I'm not so sure. Yeah. So yeah, you have Gerard, yeah, and Nico Parker presenting it, and then I think the director as well. That's Dean Du Bois. Yeah, they introduced the premiere. Yeah, so there's a lot has been introduced. You have, yeah, Anya Taylor Joy. Sorry, I missed the name. Rather, it is Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, the amazing Regina Hall, and you have the Leonardo DiCaprio. Such an amazing actor. Such an amazing actor. Yeah, so a lot of productions have been announced so far, and then you have Zach Kreger speaks on stage to promote his film Cost Stealing. Yeah, I think it's an original story. So yeah, a lot of people pass through, and you have Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal and Jesse Buckley speak on stage to promote their film The Bride at the Warner Brothers studio presentation. Yeah, wonderful actress, but now she switched to directing, and yeah, it's I learned that her films are good now. I haven't watched any, I must confess. And here you have the co-heads of DC Studios, Peter Safran and James Gunn. Peter Safran and James Gunn. So, hey, there are rumors that it's been test screened, and I think I've forgotten the blogger who spoke about it, but the rumor are that the rumors are that it's really good. It's really good. So we are hoping it's good. Sometimes some of these test screenings will hype the movie, but when it is actually premiered and debuts in the cinemas, it doesn't really match the praise that are being showered on the films. But I have confidence in James Gunn. He's really a good filmmaker, so I think he would the movie will come out good as people are claiming it is. So here you have the three main casts of Superman together with the co-heads presenting. And there was no footage really, no new footage. No, there was actually there was. The rumor is that I think they presented a 10 minutes footage of Superman. So yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, that's Superman, and then Lex Luthor in your image over here, and then crypto. Yeah, so it's funny. Oh yeah, I think who's this? Yeah, Jeff Goldstein, that's president of Global Distribution, speaks on stage at the Warner Brothers. I'm sure he's so excited about the movie that he had to put on the crypto costume to help promote the film. So yeah, that's interesting. And hey, it's a distributor, so he's doing his job well. That's interesting. Yeah, so a lot more films. Yeah, a lot more films out there. Well, I wish I can show you all, but for now, these are some of the presentations that have been done so far and the people behind them doing this presentation. I think that's Macamil. Yeah, that's Macamil. And David Johnson and Francis Lawrence, the director. Yeah. So it's quite exciting, some of the movies that are being displayed out there. And my hope is that soon enough, Africa or filmmakers from Africa would have movies in the the list of movies being presented to these cinema chains or cinema owners at this conference or convention. Yeah, it's about time we also have a stake in the film industry. But just as Leila Jewel said, if we are not really serious about our industry and are just concerned about the micro budgets films here and not giving excellent, there's no problem with having a micro budget to do a film. But the issue is with excellence, not just from the one helm in the production, but it should run through everybody who is working on the film. Because whether you like it or not, if the film is good, you'll be credited for it. If it is also terrible, you'll be credited with it. So yeah, this ends my third and final story for this entire episode. I would like you to leave your comments and views on this in the comment section below so that we can engage in a convo with regards to all the topical discussions I've had. I would like to even have the opportunity to engage with you live soon. But for now, when you share your comments, I will make time to also respond to them, but I'm not guaranteeing that I will respond to every comment, but as much as I can, once is I found it credible or reasonable or decent enough to respond to, I will do so. So thank you once again for joining me for this episode of the Film Mandate. I'm so elated that you've been with me on this journey. And tomorrow I'll bring you another episode of the Film Mandate. My name is Papa O2, and I'll see you soon.